How do if I do a little?
Boom! We could definitely do that. Damien Crutcher, Managing Director of Detroit Harmony, the DSO's latest initiative. I conduct the youngest wind band in the civic program, and then I was in civic in high school. I graduated from Cass Tech in 1986, and I was involved in civic 1984 to 1986. And this was my teacher.
But go ahead, you guys just.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Okay, you start.
I'll start. So I started playing horn by accident in high school at Cass Tech. I was watching PBS one night. I don't know why I was watching PBS at 16, but there was an orchestra on and they did a camera shot behind the horn section. So I went to school the next day and I said to my band director, Mr. Jack Shelby, he's a fantastic clarinetist. I said, I want to play that instrument that they put their hand on the bell like this. And of course he laughs at me, and he says, Mr. Crutcher, that's called the French horn, So that's the one I want to play. And so he grabbed one out of the storage at Cass Tech, and I started playing horn, and it really turned my life upside down, because I was a horrible trumpet player, but I could be an average horn player, as a black kid in Detroit playing horn. It was pretty rare to see that. And so I played horn for about a year, my sophomore year, and then there was a scholarship. My band director, Jack Shelby, said, there's a scholarship from CCS, College for Creative Studies, for Detroit kids to study with Detroit Symphony Orchestra members. And I was the kind of kid that said, why not? So I said, I'll take one. And so I started studying with Bryan in 1984.
You would drive up to my house.
I would drive to this. Could you imagine? I'm this kid from the northeast side of Detroit, and I'm driving out to the suburbs. And at the time, my brother and I had this old beat up Volkswagen Rabbit, and so I would drive to my lesson.
It had an oil problem.
And they had an oil problem. He was really cool about it, though. He came, I remember my second lesson. He says, "Do you mind parking on the gravel? Because it's kind of leaking oil, But I look back at that. And I appreciated how he handled it. That means a lot to me as an adult. Now when I think back, because it could have been a horrible.
He had a natural, just this full ringing, beautiful, lush sound. I thought this is going to be great, and he consistently showed up.
But I wanted to sound like him, because Bryan has this very famous golden sound, and I would just listen to it as a kid. I want to sound like that. But playing in civic, I think Bryan was the one who suggested that I play, and there was only one group then. Civic was one group. It was for all-star high school students and pre-professionals, and especially getting the chance to work with Bryan as a coach also there at Ford Auditorium, and then Leslie Dunner and Joe Striplin, they were the conductors. So this is kind of like my first time being in an orchestra with black conductors. And I was mesmerized by both of them. Joe Striplin was legendary in our community. Cass Tech grad, first black in the DSO. And then Leslie is the assistant conductor. And I just remember as a kid thinking, I want to do this. I want to conduct.
We've known each other now over 36 years. I've gotten to work with Damien with the Detroit Chamber Winds. I got to coach his students at Southfield Lathrop High School, to coach them and to give lessons. I've actually gotten to play under Damien as a conductor, some of the side-by-side stuff at Civic and also Detroit Chamber Winds. So there's not a better feeling. You play a great concert and it's over. And you may remember it or you may not, but if you have a student like Damien and you see how they progress and how they follow a path in their career, that's the thing that really warms your heart. It's not so much as a performer, which is different, but as a teacher, you have some effect for a longer period of time. than just one concert.
I made sure to encourage my students to play in civic. So he encouraged me, and I encouraged them.
And you know, another tribute to Damien, teachers like him, all the students that still stay in touch with him after they leave, that's a really good benchmark of what kind of a teacher you were. They stay in touch and they write you and tell you when they get married, when they have kids.
Right.
So that's a good feeling. Well, the reason why the DSO education programs are so important is not just the fact that they train young musicians, they train them to get better on their instruments, to learn famous repertoire, to participate in ensembles, but you're also teaching kids to have an appreciation for this music, who will be future ticket buyers, who will be future donors to arts organization. You teach them that the arts are important, and that if you combine arts and academics, you've got a much fuller life than if you just have one, by itself. So, and I think it's up to an organization like the DSO to not just put on concerts, but to do something for this generation and future generations. Because those kids will grow up and get married and have kids. They're going to want their kids to play instruments and to pursue, music. Maybe not as a profession, but just as something to add enrichment to their life.